This is a short video about Michelle Gleason. She is a former piper with the Fort Dearborn Pipes and Drums in the Chicago area. She recently passed away, and her family wanted to donate her pipes to a band that could use them to teach new students. I spent some time with her friend Lucy Valencia this past weekend, who gave the pipes to me, and we talked a lot about Michelle and their time piping together in Fort Dearborn. And I thought it would be a good idea to make a short video of these pipes before I clean them up and put them away for a future student. The pipes are said to be Hardys. They look fairly consistent with what I know to be Hardys, although I haven't verified that, but I do plan on taking the drone cords off and replacing them with some Highlander drone cords that I have. So I expect that when I take these off, I'll probably find a Hardy name stamped in the base drone channel. The pipes are in pretty good condition. They do have a little bit of corrosion on some of the ferrules, but they are playable. When I brought them home the other day, I was able to blow them up and tune them to 480 on a Blair iPhone tuner. They didn't sound too bad. They definitely need to be re-hemped. Looks like they haven't been hemped in a while. And these early synthetic drone reeds are kind of interesting. Like I said, I was able to tune them. I'm not really too sure what these are, but I can see that the bridles on them, the rubber is kind of getting hard and could probably be replaced. Although the L&M hide bag that these are tied into seems like it's still in very good condition. The seasoning has done its job, still feels pretty slippery on the inside, although I'm not sure that it's entirely airtight. But again, I was able to blow them up the other day and they seem to hold air enough to at least blow the drones for a couple minutes. The pipes came with a lot of different odds and ends and parts. Some interesting things like these other synthetic reeds that have cane tongues. I might try to play around with those a little bit and see if I can get those working, see what they sound like. But I'm more interested in the numerous sets of cane reeds. And although I've played with them myself on my pipes, it's kind of hard to have your pipes ready to practice and compete and play gigs and whatnot if you're screwing around with drones that you're unsure about. So this might be a good opportunity for me to play with some cane reeds and see how they work. Like I said, the pipes came with a lot of different odds and ends, a couple pairs of Geelys and hose, Scottish flag, this Bugs Bunny tie. I don't think I'll wear it myself, but I'll find somebody who will enjoy it. This Sporan, and again, some other odds and ends. Really looking forward to cleaning these pipes up, seeing how they sound, and actually really looking forward to a future student learning on these pipes. I think this video would be nice for someone to see if they're playing these pipes in the future. And I plan on keeping this picture of Michelle in the box with the pipes. Okay, I'm doing a little update on the refurbishing of Michelle's pipes. Oh, over the last few days, I probably have about 4 or 5 hours into cleaning these up and re-hemping them. I have put on the extra set of Highlander drone cords that I had laying around. I'm glad I saved those. Over here, I have a pile of all the old hemp and everything I used to clean these up. It was kind of interesting looking through all the old hemp, mixtures of black and white hemp, and this white stuff that's in there, I thought it was dental floss, but it looks like it might have been tie-in cord or something similar. Definitely never seen any hemp like that. It's interesting to look at all the different layers and see what people used years ago to hemp up their pipes. There was some Teflon tape in there and some electrical tape. And when I took the electrical tape off of some of the stocks, the blow stock in particular, I found a hairline crack. So I did do an air tightness test on these. I corked them and blew them up, and they seemed fairly airtight. Lasts for about 30 seconds or so before I could put it in another breath. So not too bad, but definitely not perfectly airtight. Not sure where it's coming from. The bag seems like it's pretty good. I might have to do some more hemping on the blow stick itself. That seemed like maybe there was some air coming out there. Anyway, these pipes had a little MAC valve on it. That seems to be still in good condition. I took it out, cleaned it up. Still seems to be holding air okay. The mouthpiece, I needed to take that apart, clean it all up. I needed to put a new piece of rubber on the tip. Kind of hard to blow these up and try to play them with the hard plastic in your mouth, but that's all in good condition now. Cleaned up a lot of the ferrules. I have this old can of Brasso that was my father's. That can has to be 40 years old, maybe more. My dad had 2 cans of it. I grabbed one of them, and that can is probably going to outlast me. It's still more than half full. Like I said, cleaned up the ferrules a lot. They're pretty good. Some of them do have some corrosion that maybe a little bit more elbow grease might get it a little bit better, but there's some metal damage there that they would have to be replated to make them perfect. But again, rehemped everything. I use a combination of yellow waxed and yellow unwaxed in different places. The thing I don't like about the yellow waxed is that it stains really easily. I don't know if that's from the finish on the inside of the bores of the pipes, or I don't know, maybe there's some seasoning in there or something, but that's brand new hemp and it just gets all gunky looking too quickly. On tenor drones, I'll use yellow unwaxed. That seems to work pretty good. After this crushes down a little bit, I'm going to have to touch it up a little bit more, but they're pretty good now. On places where I tend to see it when I'm taking the pipes apart, pulling out drones to adjust reeds and whatnot, I tend to like to use the black waxed. First of all, I think you need waxed. That goes in there, it seals better. But again, for a place that I'm looking at it on a regular basis, even though it's just a cosmetic thing, I don't like to look at the gunky looking yellow stained up hemp, so the black tends to be my preference. I don't know that it's any better functionally than the yellow, just my preference. Earlier in the other video I made, I talked about potentially using these early synthetic drone reeds that were included. They do kind of work. I cleaned them up a little bit. There was some seasoning in them. I re-hemped them. When I was putting them back in, I noticed that that black thing that's holding down the tongue seemed to be moving, and I think it's electrical tape. Anyway, it doesn't seem like it's all that stable. It was moving around a little bit. Maybe I'll redo it. But again, I mentioned earlier that the bridles, the rubber appears to be hardening, and it might be kind of brittle. I am currently trying these other reeds that came with the pipes. They have cane tongues. There were 3 of them. The base drone, the bridle on there just kind of disintegrated and fell apart, so I'm giving a try at some cane. Boy, I wish I knew more about cane drone reeds. Seems to be a little bit of an art to those, or some black magic maybe, I don't know. There's enough of them here that I'm hopeful I can get a set of them, or at least the base working maybe, but I don't know, just they seem so fragile, and I know some of the tips about putting a hair under the tongue, or snapping it, or you putting a dollar bill under there, inserting a paper clip, things like that. But that hemp bridle, just they don't seem like they stay in one place very well. It doesn't seem very secure and positive like a rubber bridle on a modern drone reed. Anyway, after I get these done, I'll be putting on this new bag, not this new bag, an old bag cover that I have around. Again, got the new drone cords put on. Pretty happy I saved those. They're looking pretty good. New hemp everywhere. The bag, again, seems like it's in pretty good condition. Cleaned up all the stocks, the ferrules, and things are looking pretty good. I'm really looking forward to playing these and seeing how they sound. They're going to make a nice set for a beginner at some point. Somebody else in the band told me that they have some extra synthetic drone reeds. They're going to bring them to practice on Thursday. I think I'm going to give those a try. I'm still going to keep working at the cane, and maybe I'll get that bass going. But I'd prefer, I guess, just to work with synthetics, especially if these are going to go to a learner, to a student. That's not the kind of thing that I feel like you should be mucking around with when you're a learner. I realized that at one time that was the only option, but probably for more experienced players at this point in time. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll be doing an update again, hopefully soon when I get these up and playable, and I'll add a recording of me playing something on these nice pipes from Michelle Gleason. Okay, time for a status update on these pipes. Man, I've been messing around with drone reeds for a couple weeks now. I really haven't had a ton of time to dedicate because last weekend was the Chicago Highland Games. Spent the entire day there, and then I probably spent at least another day editing videos and uploading them to YouTube and whatnot. Thanks everybody for watching those videos. I had a good time making them. Okay, so in the last update I talked about trying cane. I really would like to learn more about those, and I had about 15, maybe even more cane reeds to work with, and I just couldn't get them to work. Thanks so much to Sean Husk's videos on cane adjustments. Learned some new things there, the flame trick to set the cane fibers. Didn't really get around to trying that, but definitely the paperclip trick. That's something I learned at Winter Storm a couple of years ago. Tried that. Really, ultimately, just couldn't get these the reeds that I had to sound right. I also mentioned that someone in the band had a whole collection of different drone reeds that I was going to ask for, and I got those about a week ago or so. Got a nice collection of things to work with here. Some easy drones. I know those are like so popular for so long. I was really looking forward to working with those. Before I even started putting reeds in this set of pipes, I took the opportunity to try some of these. So there's two different ones here that are very similar. I think they're Canning and Canards. I don't know if they're exactly the same or they're in the wrong boxes or whatever, but a good variety of those. Interesting to play with the Allen wrench, Allen screw setup. Kind of interesting. Put those in my own pipes. I thought they sounded great, but the bore size on my pipes, which are also Hardys, are just not big enough to get these in, and I didn't want to ream them. It took almost all the hemp off these, and I just couldn't get them in. Same thing with the easy drones with that rubber fitting on there. Just couldn't, no matter how much I pushed, really couldn't get them up in there. The balance tones that I have on there now, they're good reeds. A few people I know play them. They seem pretty reliable. Don't really have issues with them too much, but I put those back in, and it was nice to try these other things. But what I ended up with here was a mixture. So these two Croziers here, these were originally mine. I bought these right after I got my pipes. They had some old, geez, I don't even remember what was in them, but they were very early, very not good synthetic reeds. And I bought this set of Croziers. And walking to a parade one day, my hemp was loose, a drone fell out, reed fell on the ground, cracked the drone reed seat, I guess, that goes, that's what it's called, goes into the drone. Still able to hemp it up pretty good and get a nice tight fit. I don't think it's affecting the sound at all, but I did end up buying those balance tones after that just because I didn't want to play with the cracked reed. But so gave those away to somebody if they could use them. The bass didn't come back to me. But these two are my original Croziers that I bought, and they ended up sounding the best in here. Some of the issues I had with the other reeds were Once I got them in, they were either howling or they were tuning too high or too low, and I was playing with bridles and stuff, and just ultimately couldn't get them where I wanted. So this is what I ended up with here. The two Croziers and the tenors seem to be tuned about where I want. I'm pretty happy with them. They sound great. On strike-in though, I think it's the middle one is it's howling a little bit. It's getting a little bit of a squeal. So I think maybe a little bit more play. I don't know if maybe the bridle is old. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure which way to go with that. But I'll give them a little bit more play-in time and see what I can do with them. This one again, I think is a Canard or a Canning. Like it. Some of the other ones that I had over here, I tried and couldn't get them to tune where I wanted. One of them on my tuner was actually coming up as a tenor reed, and so I messed around with it a little bit. I think it's that one in the center, and I don't know. Maybe I think the bridle is just old and just wasn't tuning where I needed it to be. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with where I'm getting these two. Glad I don't have to play them for any gigs or anything because it's taken me a little bit more time than I thought I would need to get these going. But also got a rubber earpiece or a mouthpiece on there. It's making it a little bit easier for me to test playing them. And having a good time with this. I'll make an update again in a couple days or when I do get these playable. But for now, I did play them for a little bit this afternoon, able to get them to tune where I want. They sound pretty steady. I'm going to do another air tightness test. As I mentioned in a previous update, I did find a crack in the blow stick stock, so at this point I'm really not sure how that's impacting playability. But having a good time doing this project, really happy I'm taking the time to document it, and another update to come.